Alright. I've got about an hour of record video time. I'm going to make the Gundam, but I'm going to be listening to the Liverbox audio off the computer. Jules Verne, The Mysterious Island, off Liverbox. I watched Too Old for Toys. I build this Gundam. It took them an hour and 27 minutes. I hope it doesn't take me that long. And I didn't hear, I just skimmed through it. I didn't hear him talk, which is fucking crazy because I'd be like, fucking hell. I got 2 bottles of wine with me. I got some Chu-Hai. And I got my nippers and a scraper thingy here. I got some files and some other shit. So what I'm gonna do is you're thinking to yourself, Ruben, how can you listen to music, or it's a story, it's an audiobook off liverbox.org. I'll put the link there on the bottom, but yeah, if I have to multitask. I can't do, well, I can, but I just get very bored if I'm doing one thing at a time. I need to be doing 2 or 3 things at the same time, or else, you know, usually when I'm making videos, I'm doing my laundry, or I'm cooking some food, or something like that, so. Wow, this doesn't look, this is only, what, 4 trees? I think this is going to take me, what, 30 minutes or so? Alright. So yeah, Liverbox has old audio files which are in the public domain, which means you can listen to them for free, and yeah, you don't have to pay for anything. So, and you improve your knowledge of the classics. You know, you got your Jules Verne, you got your Orson Welles. Who else we got? H.G. Wells. A bunch of, you just got so many people on there. You know, this is usually the way I start a Gundam. Probably just open up all the bags, and then unlike the Transformers, I usually have to read these, but yeah, usually when I'm riding on the train or something like that, and I got a couple, like an hour to kill or something like this, I'll listen to an audio book, and on my phone, and yeah. So let's see. I need the instructions. Okay, there they are. It's 3 minutes into it. We got our timer right there. 6:30. We'll see how long it takes me. And well. Thinking it's not really all that complex, so I'll just slap it all together, and what I'm going to do during the stages, I'm going to try to do all the stickers, because if I don't, then that means I have to repaint it and a bunch of shit, or take it apart, and then I got to file down pieces and shit and fucking bussies, and anyway, what you get when you get your Gundam here, you get some pieces like oh, well, since this is a new kit, every piece is used, but sometimes you get X's on parts. Oh, like that on those. Yeah, those X's mean you don't use those pieces. So But I think that's just a generic... I've got a bunch of these trees, so I could probably get another Gundam and use the pieces off of that. But yeah, these are pretty generic. 2008, as you can see there. Anyway, let's slap that bitch together and see what's going. So we're gonna click on the audio book for this. I'm just gonna click here with my old-fashioned mouse. Did it go start? There you go.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
Public domain.
For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This recording is by Mark Smith of Simpsonville, South Carolina.
There you go.
The Mysterious Island by Jules Verne.
Jules Verne, Mysterious Island.
Part 1.
21 hours on this thing, so.
Are we rising again? No, on the contrary. Are we descending? Worse than that, Captain, we are falling. For heaven's sake, heave out the ballast.
AP1.
There, the last sack is empty. Does the balloon rise? No! I hear a noise like a dashing of waves. The sea is below the car. It cannot be more than 500 feet from us. Overboard with every weight. Everything. Such were the loud and startling words which resounded through the air above the vast watery desert of the Pacific about 4 o'clock in the evening of the 23rd of March, 1865. Few can possibly have forgotten the terrible storm from the northeast in the middle of the equinox of that year. The tempest raged without intermission from the 18th to the 26th of March. Its ravages were terrible in America, Europe, and Asia, covering a distance of 1,800 miles.
A5, we need an
A5.
A5.
To the equator from the 35th north parallel to the 40th south parallel.
A5 here.
Towns were overthrown, forests uprooted, coasts devastated by the mountains of water which were precipitated on them, vessels cast on the shore, which the published accounts numbered by hundreds, whole districts leveled by waterspouts, which
now one
destroyed
thing that
everything
you
they passed over. Several thousand people crushed on land
this
or
one
drowned
doesn't
at sea. Such were
point
the
it
phases
out
of the
as
fury
obvious as
left
some
by
other
this
ones, but
devastating tempest. It surpassed in
when you
disasters
clip these
those which
things,
so frightfully
you don't.
ravaged
You
Havana
could
and
clip
Guadalupe, one on the
in
25th
excess,
of
for
October,
example, there,
1810, the other on the
and
26th
it's
of
not
July,
flush. But what you want, if you can get it off the tree,
but while so many catastrophes were taking
then
place
you're
on
doing
land
good.
and
And
at
then
sea,
later, after it's off the tree, you can go back and clip it and clean it up at a better angle.
In fact, a balloon, as a ball might be carried on the summit of a waterspout.
So, and then of course, if you're like a super pro, then you're gonna like file it down and stuff like that.
90
So,
miles an hour, turning round and round as if seized by some aerial maelstrom.
like that,
Beneath the
like
lower
that piece
point
right there.
of the balloon swung a car containing 5 passengers.
Actually, that clip wasn't as good. See the length of it.
Mingled with spray.
It would have been better for me to clip it this way, the short way, than that way, the long way, which I did. So, but anyway.
From what part of the world did it rise? It surely could not have started during the storm. For the storm had raged 5 days already, and the first symptoms were manifested on the 18th.
Let's see, what are we
It
doing?
cannot be doubted that the balloon came from a great distance, for it could not have traveled less than 2,000 miles in 24 hours. At any rate, the passengers, destitute of all marks for their guidance, could not have possessed the means of reckoning the route traversed since their departure. It was a remarkable fact that, although in the very midst of the furious tempest,
video.
they did not suffer from it. They were thrown about and rolled round and round without feeling the rotation in the slightest degree, or being sensible that they were removed from a horizontal position. Their eyes could not pierce through the thick mist which had gathered beneath the
maybe
car.
that's right.
Dark vapor was all around them.
A2, A3,
Such was the density of the atmosphere
A2, A3.
that they could not be certain whether it was day or night. No reflection of light, no sound from inhabited land, No roaring of the ocean could have reached them through the obscurity while suspended in those elevated zones.
A2, A3
Their
right there.
rapid descent alone had informed them of the dangers which they ran from the waves. However, the balloon, lightened of heavy articles such as ammunition, arms, and provisions, had risen into the higher layers of the atmosphere to a height of 4,500 feet. The voyagers, after having discovered that the sea extended beneath them, and thinking the dangers above less dreadful than those below, did not hesitate to throw overboard even their most useful articles,
So
while they endeavored to lose no more of that fluid, the life of their enterprise, which sustained them above the abyss. The night passed in the midst of alarms which would have been death to less energetic souls. Again the day appeared, and with it the tempest began to
I think I need to
moderate.
file that down.
From the beginning of that day,
But
the
for example,
24th
this
of
piece,
March,
this little fucked
it
up.
showed symptoms of abating.
I want to
At
cut it this
dawn,
way because
some of
it's
the lighter
thinner.
clouds had risen into the more lofty regions of the air. In a few hours, the wind had changed from a hurricane to a fresh breeze. That is to say, the rate of the transit of the atmospheric layers was diminished by half. It was still what
It's to be
sailors
cut
call
that way.
a close reefed topsail breeze, but the commotion in the elements had nonetheless considerably diminished. Towards 11 o'clock, the lower region of the air was sensibly clearer. The atmosphere threw off that chilly dampness which is felt after the passage of a great meteor. The storm did not seem to have gone farther to the west.
I need to
It
file that
appeared
off.
to have exhausted itself. Could it have passed away in electric sheets, as is sometimes the case with regard to the typhoons of the Indian Ocean? But at the same time,
Indian
it was
Ocean has
also evident that the
cyclones,
balloon was
not
again slowly
typhoons.
descending with a regular movement.
That guy's an idiot.
It appeared as if it were little
Jules
by
Verne
little
didn't know that.
collapsing.
Come on, what's up with Jules
Its
Verne?
case was lengthening and extending, passing from a spherical to an oval form. Towards midday, the balloon was hovering above the sea at a height of only 2,000 feet. It contained 50,000 cubic feet of gas, and, thanks to its capacity, it could maintain itself a long time in the air, although it should reach a great altitude or might be thrown into a horizontal position. Perceiving their danger, the passengers cast away the last articles which still weighed down the car, the few provisions they had kept, everything, even to their pocket knives, and one of them, having hoisted himself on to the circles which united the cords of the net, tried to secure more firmly the lower point of the balloon. They called, and then uniting their voices, they endeavored to raise even a louder shout than before, which would be transmitted to a great distance. The wind had now fallen almost to a calm, and the noise of the sea began also to subside. One of Neb's shouts even appeared to produce an echo. Herbert directed Pencroft's attention to it, adding, "That proves that there is a coast to the west at no great distance."
This thing
The
is
sailor
really
nodded.
small.
Besides, his eyes could not deceive him. If he had discovered land, however indistinct it might appear, land was sure to be there. But that distant echo was the only response produced by Neb's shouts,
Shit, I
while a
think Too
heavy
Old for
gloom
Toys is
hung over
faster
all the
than
part
me.
east of the island. Meanwhile, the sky was clearing little by little. Towards midnight the stars shone out, and if the engineer had been there with his companions, he would have remarked that these
There's no way I
stars
can
did
finish
not
this up
belong to the
in
northern
the...
hemisphere. The polar star was not visible. The constellations were not those which they had been accustomed to see in the United States. The Southern Cross glittered brightly in the sky. The night passed away. Towards 5 o'clock in the morning of the